You're watching CNBC TV18 with just days left for the interim budget. The India Venture and Alternate Capital Association has said that its top concerns relate to taxation rates and investment in alternate investment funds. The IVCA has asked for parity in rates between listed and unlisted securities for domestic investors. The association is also optimistic that the interim budget will clarify rules regarding tax collection at source on the sale of goods. Joining us now to take the discussion forward is Menezes, Partner and Chief Operating Officer at ChrysCapital and the Vice Chairperson of the Indian Venture and Alternate Capital Association, or IVCA. Ashley, thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC TV18. Appreciate your time. Well, technically, this is a vote on account. So typically, they don't tinker with taxes in a vote on account. But this is the last interim budget before the general elections. There's been a lot of consultation with government over the past year or so. What are the crucial aspects that you want a clarification on?
Thank you, Shireen, for having me on the show. As you mentioned, I think one of the long-standing asks is around tax parity. For long, domestic investors have been treated differently relative to foreign investors, as well as, more importantly, the unlisted investments from a long-term capital gains is actually at twice the tax rate relative to a long-term capital gain from a listed investment. Given that private equity is an infusion that India needs to help build the overall growth. It is an essential commodity. And so, in a way, private equity is being penalized for investing in young, unlisted companies relative to, on the listed side where it enjoys just a 10% tax versus a 20+% tax. So that's been one of the biggest asks that we've had for some time. We are hopeful that the government considers this. This has been top of our list. In terms of
as you point out, this has been a long-standing demand, Ashley, and I don't know whether, at least in the interim budget, we are going to see any significant changes as far as tax are concerned, but one will have to wait to see on the 1st of February. What I do want to talk to you about, Ashley, is the recent RBI circular on investments in AIFs, and I did have an opportunity to speak with the RBI governor and ask him if any sort of a review was being considered, because the IVCA and many others have made representations to both the RBI as well as the government to do so. So far, doesn't seem to be a change in stance. Now, can you take us to what the impact is already? We've already started to see banks provisioning for investments in their quarterly numbers, but take us through the impact that we're seeing on the ground of this, and what is it that you would like the government to do?
Yeah, so actually, I'd like to take a step back, if you permit, Shireen. One of the bigger issues is in India, a lot of the private equity capital is still overseas capital. We are not domestically self-sustainable as of now, unlike other countries. And so that is a huge need of the hour. So one of the biggest asks, again, has been, how do you promote Indian investors, both institutional as well as retail, to come into the AIF fold? And so around that, when you have disturbances around what can be done and how it can be done, it just ends up being it's a hard battle to fight, right? And then we've seen some of the institutional investors say, look, it's not worth our time. We'd rather spend our time and effort on other aspects versus investing in private equity. And that is a detriment, right? Because effectively then private equity is still dependent on foreign capital. You are dependent on what's happening globally versus local money. And I think that is a huge roadblock that we've seen. So the recent circular is one aspect we've seen that. We've also seen, insurance companies, pension funds, whilst they're permitted to invest in AIFs, in private equity, there are, again, a number of roadblocks that need clarification. So we put together some of those proposals. We have sent it to the government, the Ministry of Finance, in the hope that they will consider these, because some of these are just pure technical clarifications and can clear the path very quickly.
Yes, let's see if those clarifications do come through. But Ashley, one of the other, budget expectations across sectors and across industry, in fact, including NASSCOM, etc., is the direct listing of Indian origin foreign incorporated startups on Indian stock exchanges. We've seen PhonePe reverse flip, and the tax implications are significant. The hope is that we will see more companies that were domiciled outside of India now moving back. So what do you believe could be done to ensure that this reverse flipping is a smoother transition to be made?
No, absolutely. I think 15 years ago, just flipping structures out of India was sort of the talk of the town. I think I'm glad to at least hear that we are now or see that we're experiencing this today. I think the introduction of regulations around GIFT City, etc., are a welcome step in terms of enabling some of this. Where you're encouraging companies to flip back into India. I think with the new breed of entrepreneurs who are based in India, it is essential to allow for this. And these are aspects these are irritants, unfortunately, that we've seen in the last few months and quarters that we need to work on. Plenty
of irritants that require ironing out. But, overall, Ashley, in terms of the environment, we are at the start of 2024. The hope is that winter will now lead to spring as far as the startup ecosystem is concerned. What's your own take on the back of the data that you have visibility on, as well as the cues that you're picking up?
So I think at the macro level, things are looking very exciting for investments, right? And this is across sector. Consumption is a huge sector. We're seeing some of the metrics there do very well. Things like even on IT, where there have been some negative headwinds, primarily based on what's happening in the US. We're seeing some of that sort of change or stabilize. We're seeing sectors like pharma, manufacturing pick up as well. So overall, we're excited that the opportunity is still quite large. As a fund, ChrysCapital has deployed a lot of capital, over $5 billion in India over the last few years, and we remain excited. And in the next 10, 15 years, definitely looks very, very exciting in terms of opportunities. In terms of types of transactions, again, the types of deals have improved in terms of just simple minority investments. We're seeing a lot more buyouts. We're seeing a lot of pre-IPO kind of transactions happening, and so that's encouraging where there is an opportunity to structure deals in the most appropriate manner. So you're meeting both the need for capital as well as the specific nuances of the sources of capital and marrying the two together in terms of helping develop a stronger and a better deal environment.
The IVCA has put down a 7-point budget wish list. Go ahead, Ashley.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So when to go?
No, I said the IVCA has put together a 7-point budget wish list for the finance minister. You spoke about the need for tax parity. There's management fee capitalization, the ability to make Indian private equity VCs self-sustainable, ESOP tax, angel tax, startup qualification. If there was one, Ashley, that you would like to prioritize off this lot, what would it be? Which is causing the most friction, the most pain, the most frustration for the ecosystem today?
Yeah, so I mean, the tax parity is obviously the biggest point, but I think the one that is relatively new, or well, not new, but has come back is the angel tax. So there is an angel tax which is applicable on every transaction, which effectively causes a huge level of structuring, which is completely unnecessary. And in our minds, some things where a number of transactions are anyway approved by the regulator. So you may need to go to the Competition Commission for that. You may need to go to the RBI. in our minds, if there are deals that are already approved by a regulator, can there be some kind of a lighter touch or an exemption for going through the whole angel tax mechanism? I think that's one big thing that we're seeing in almost every deal where it's taking a lot more time, a lot more effort to work with.
Well, Ashley, many thanks for joining us here on the CNBC-TV18 Budget Countdown. We've got the CNBC-TV18 Budget Ballot Box right here next to me. I'm going to be putting IVCA's 7-point budget wish list in the ballot box, which we are going to be sending out to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Remember, these ballot boxes are placed across the country at this point in time, and we encourage each of our viewers to send us your budget wish list. We will get the Finance Minister to get access to all of this. This is troubling me. And there you go. That's the IVCA budget wish list in the CNBC-TV18 budget ballot box. And send us your wish list. We will try and see what we can do to get them across to the Finance Minister. As always, many thanks for joining us here on the Budget Countdown. We're back in a minute with a lot more. Stay tuned.